Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Movie LaBeoufs. I'm Todd.
I'm Owen.
And today we'll be reviewing the horror film Becky. So let's buckle up and see what this thing's all about.
It's going to be a bumpy one.
Oh, yeah.
So first of all, Becky was released as a video on demand by Quiver Distribution, Redbox Entertainment, and then put on Amazon Prime where we saw it. Directors and writers. The director is a director team, Jonathan Millett and Carrie Murnion. They haven't done too many. They did like a couple TV movies, and then this movie called Cooties with Elijah Wood.
Okay.
I don't know if you heard of it.
I haven't seen it, but I kind of like read the synopsis of it.
Okay. Yeah, so it's like, I haven't seen it either, but it's, from what I gather, it's like a sort of zombie apocalypse twist movie where...
Oh, I get it, like Cooties. I mean, it kind of just sounds like a bunch of those other, like, teen zombie movies. But it was like high school, zombies, love.
Absolutely. 2014.
Okay. So
it's rated 5.7 on IMDb.
Let's see,
Yeah, so not very high. And like you were saying, yeah, there's that, like, 2014, so mid-2010s. I guess that's, like, kind of after the huge zombie...
Yeah, it's kind of, like, smack in the middle kind of thing. Because, like, Netflix has kind of bought into, like, those, like, zombie movie/show things, which is, like, over the past little bit, too. So it's just kind of...
Are you still into zombie movies?
No. I stopped watching The Walking Dead, too. So
yeah.
I
stopped watching that in season 2, I think. But, yeah. So, this movie, Cooties, a mysterious virus... hits an isolated elementary school, transforming the kids into feral swarm of mass savages.
Okay, I'm assuming Elijah Wood is the teacher in this.
Yeah.
He's not a student.
An unlikely hero must lead a motley band of teachers to fight for their lives. So,
kind of just looks like
it's a
Dirk
fun... Yeah. This is an episode of Dirk Gently. It's a fun concept, but here's the thing. When you have... First of all, I'm assuming their budget is very low. And you have kids, and not just one kid, which we'll talk about later in the movie Becky, but a whole bunch of kids pretending to be zombies. Yeah. I don't know how well they're
I don't know where we're going. Yes. But anyway, that's kind of like some of their earlier work. But
yeah, and they did this movie called Bushwick, which seems to be like a post-apocalyptic, like The Road movie.
Okay, so we're kind of seeing like they kind of have like their kind of like genre like mapped out here of what they're doing.
Yeah, I guess. And then we have Becky, which is a little different. We'll talk about that in a minute, though. Let's go to the writers. So it was written by Nick Morris and Ruckus Skye and Lane Skye, which are a writing duo, married couple. Nick Morris has no IMDb credits, so...
That's something to keep a lookout for.
So this is probably... I guess this is his first, at least, big movie.
He looks like a guy from Sons of Anarchy. Or Tim Armstrong.
He looks like a mix between Sons of Anarchy and Ricky from Trailer Park Boys.
Yeah.
But this writing duo has also just done shorts and a TV movie. So... everyone kind of involved.
So relatively new people to the industry.
Yeah, it seems that way. All right, so Becky stars Lulu Wilson, which plays Becky, and then Kevin James and Joel McHale.
My boy Kevin.
Which, first of all, should we talk about their performance in this movie?
I think we need to talk about Kevin.
Did you like Kevin James' performance in Becky?
For the first time seeing him in this kind of role... I can understand why it came out the way that it did. It's kind of hard to watch because the whole time I'm watching it, I'm just like, I just keep seeing the guy from King of Queens and or like Paul Blart, and it's like, and it's just, and just to see him in this light, it's hard to wrap your head around. But like as you kind of go through the movie, you kind of like start to like.
This is a very different role from what he's done in the last.
Yeah, and I feel like he wanted to cut his teeth and like do something different. Yeah. And, like, you can kind of see that. He's kind of, like... I feel like he's kind of taking the Sandler route, where it's, like, he's sick... Right. He's sick of being known as, like, this, you know, comedy actor, like, this buffoon, if you will. Kind of just falls down a lot.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Adam Sandler went and did Uncut Gems, which is this huge movie.
Which is okay. Like...
But it's a, you know... like a respected movie, and it's a
respected
good
Netflix movie.
Anyway, my boldest then Kevin James chooses to do this like low budget, new director, new writer project. Like, why? He's a pretty big
name.
He could probably get a movie, I think, like Uncut Gems. Don't you agree?
Yeah. Oh, of course. Yeah. I feel like they could those guys cash in on the Netflix stuff, right? Like they're getting paid exorbitant amounts of money to put out just like mediocre movies. And, like, I think they're content with that because they're just making so much fucking money.
Do you think Becky is a sequel to Pearl Blair? Well, he's sick and tired of the fucking damn kids at the mall.
He's like, I'm just had enough.
He's out for blood.
He's out for blood. I've had it up to here. Oh, man.
All right. I was going to say, which is interesting, I really liked Kevin James' performance in this movie.
Really?
I thought he did a really good job. I mean, there's not much to the role, obviously. He's a fucking
pretty cut and dry.
He's a bad guy.
Yeah.
He's a very bad guy. He's a murderer and, to say a racist and
a bigot, if you will.
What's
even synonyms for racist?
What's he part of?
He's a neo-Nazi.
He's a Nazi. Is what I'm trying to say. He's a Nazi. He's a bad dude. And Joel McHale.
Oh, okay. We're talking about Joel first? Okay.
Well,
talking about Joel.
Yeah, so you were telling me before we started recording this, you forgot or didn't know Joel McHale was in the movie.
Yes, I was not aware that he was in the movie until I started watching it. And I was like, is that Joel McHale? I was like, oh, God.
To me, Joel McHale's the worst part.
Oh, God.
Yeah, and I don't want to shit on him too much. I mean, it's a lame role. Father,
it's just
has to deal with his 13-year-old daughter, and that's it.
Yeah,
like,
he's just kind of put in there to be like that pillar for her, right? To be like, which kind of we'll get into in a bit, but like, yeah, he's not really in the movie. It kind of pulls like disappearing role. He's not in the movie for as long as you'd like to think he is. But spoilers,
but he doesn't last long.
He doesn't last long. But like I was watching it and I was like, man, he's not in this whole thing. It's like the Joel McHale show all over again. He's come and gone.
Yeah, poor guy. Hollywood Dreamboat, Joel McHale.
Hollywood Dreamboat, Joel McHale.
Lulu Wilson, who plays Becky.
Yeah, relatively new actor, I can assume.
Who was in? Oh, she was in a bunch of horror movies. So she was in Annabelle, The Haunting of Hill House.
Oh yeah, okay.
Which was that TV series, Netflix series, Ouija. A bunch of low budget horror movies.
Okay, all the same, kind of the same shit all over the place. Okay.
Where she probably played the exact same role in each one. Creepy girl.
Yeah.
So she's known for being a creepy girl in these movies. So in Becky, she is kind of a creepy girl.
Yeah,
like, kind of. They're trying to play off that, like, maybe she has this
there's something
darkness
there. Yeah.
in her, which we'll talk about later, but they kind of set it up like it could be a sequel.
Oh yeah.
Okay, now before we talk about the movie, I want to read out the IMDb synopsis here and tell you what the log line and tell you what I was thinking of. So it says, a teenager's weekend at a lake house with her father takes a turn for the worse when a group of convicts wreaks havoc on their lives. So fairly simple, but I'm just like thinking of Home Alone right here. I'm like,
oh God,
this sounds like Home Alone, and then
obviously
you watch the movie and it's
carries over some of those elements.
Anyway. All right, Todd, tell us about Becky. What is Becky all about?
Okay. So, in Becky, we find a new family traveling to a cottage out in the wilderness where Joel McHale, Becky's father, has proposed to his new girlfriend, much to the chagrin of a young Becky, who seems to be missing her deceased mother. Now, Kevin James and his crew of cronies seem to have escaped prison and are heading towards the cottage to run amok. Stuff unfolds, shit happens, people die, right? Essentially.
Yeah.
Like, we can kind of guess where this is going, right?
But how do people die? That's the twist on this movie. So everyone is killed, ends up, I guess, spoilers?
Is that how we're going into spoilers? I guess we could be, yeah. Like,
fuck it.
Yeah, fuck it.
Fuck it? Well, just spoilers. Everyone's killed by Becky.
Oh, yeah.
So that's like the big twist here in the movie is that, these convicts take over this lake house, have everyone kind of kidnapped, tied up and shit.
Yeah.
But Becky is not, she's out in the woods, nobody knows her, she's there, and one by one she picks them off, and that's the twist, is this 13-year-old girl is the murderer of the movie, essentially.
Yes. Ooh. But what it kind of comes down to is that the whole movie is they're looking for this, Kevin James and his crew of cronies are just looking for this key, right? And that's kind of what, like, where it kind of just goes, right? They show up at the house, they're looking for this key, and they're kind of just going off on these tangents about, like, how, like, like these racist tangents about, like, white and black people. And while they're looking for this key, it never really gets clear as to, like,
no,
like, what the key is and what it does. But Becky has...
That's by far the weakest part of the movie is, like, what is this fucking key and who cares? Like,
well, you see, she has the key, like, around her, right, the whole time. Because I think she finds, if I can remember correctly, she finds it, right? Yeah, and that's what they're looking for. And Kevin James keeps going on about how he's like, it opens up some fucking box or whatever.
They don't know, yeah.
Right? So, what do you think it was for? Because I looked it up. Like,
oh, really?
Yeah.
Is there a way? Did the movie like hint toward it, and I just missed that?
No, like it kind of ends. It kind of ends on.
So
that.
Before you tell me,
what do you think it was about?
I just guessed it was money or like some fucking thing of value that happens to be at the lake house.
Okay. So that was kind of what I thought, too. I was sitting to myself thinking, I'm like, why the fuck do they want this thing so bad? And why are they killing all these people?
Why is it at this lake house with this lame family? Also, her mom, who's recently passed away, Becky is, distraught and pissed off that her father has brought his new girlfriend to the lake house. And first of all, her mother died, I think they say, recently.
I think so. They don't really. Year. I think so. They don't.
And
he's getting married right away.
Yeah. What the fuck? Like that's not.
And he's looking at her like she's being a brat. He's like why? He's like why can't you let me be happy? I was like it's been a year, man.
Yeah, just like if you want to, I get it. You're lonely and you want to date. Like do that somewhere else, not at the lake house with your daughter. And it's awkward.
There were some serious plot holes that I found, but so originally I was kind of thinking the same thing. I was like, okay, what is this thing for? I was like, is it like Nazi gold?
Okay, that's funny because I didn't even. That kind of makes sense. I didn't connect those two things, but he's like, this Nazi with this Nazi plan. Yeah,
and he's like a total skinhead, and he's like, and then
so here's what I was gonna say about the mother is like so. It's at this lake house. We don't know anything about the lake house other than the fact that her dad and her mom and her used to go up there. So I'm thinking the key has a connection with her mother, but they don't say anything about her mother the entire movie.
Except for at the beginning, to establish that she's dead.
Yeah.
And
that's it.
And also, which kind of plays into it, is that when the criminals do arrive looking for said key, they take the whole family hostage with Becky on the loose. And then to kind of lure her in, they start torturing Joel McHale. Or Joel McHale uses probably the best acting I've ever heard. They're like, "Go get out of here, Becky!" I was like, "Oh God,
that's brutal."
Not the best acting on his part, but yeah. So that kind of just sets up like Joel McHale obviously being murdered by these guys, and then the kid having nothing left, just no mom, no dad, just decides to go on a killing spree and kind of like avenge her dad by like slowly picking these guys off one by one with these like Home Alone type little like trinkets. I was like, and with her hair like that, I was like, throw a vest on her. She's MacGruber. Like I was watching it, I was like, what is going on here?
Yeah. There was some clear like weak writing in the script where like she's in the woods 50 yards away
and then she's really close.
Like, I know you're there, blah blah blah. Just go after her. You'll find her in no time.
Yeah. And there's that scene where like she has a dog locked up in that shed, and the guys just keep showing up at the shed, and they're like, oh, okay, we're not going in there. The dog's in there.
It was incredibly convenient that those guys were scared of dogs.
Yeah, right?
If they were not scared of dogs, everybody would be dead.
Yeah, right? And And which brings me to like my favorite character of the whole thing. Kevin James's like sidekick buddy. That looked like the Apex. Apex Predator. I was like, that's just some good writing. So, there's that scene when he's fighting with her, and he fucking choke slams on the ground. I was like, that was fucking.
Yeah. That was funny. That guy.
Because I thought he looked like a wrestler. I was like, is this guy a wrestler? And then when I saw him choke slam, I was like, he might be.
Let's look that up.
Apex. That's just some good writing right there. But yeah, and doesn't he just look at Kevin James and he's like, nah, I've had enough, and then just walks into the forest. Like,
yeah, that was weird. So he is supposed to be so we meet him in prison. They're both in prison together. So we're
they shanked that guy.
So we're like, okay, these guys are buddies, or he's working for Kevin James, and then we find out later that Kevin James calls him his son.
Yeah, I noticed that. And I was like,
okay, so he's like, he kind of says that he's like picking these guys to be like, he's raising them as these criminals. So they're like his son, in quotes. But like, they look not too different in age, right?
I think he's kind of referring it to as like, like one of those like reincarnate things, like, like, God knows what the fuck they believe, right? But like,
that's true.
Let's
chalk it up to some Nazi bullshit.
Yeah, right. Also, did you take in that scene where a little nod to Ed Norton there? He takes off his fucking, he's got the Nazi tattoo and he's like hitting it, and I'm like, I was just watching it and I was like, you see this? It means not fucking welcome. I was like, oh come on, like,
yeah, that was.
Is that a nod or is that like kind of
maybe? Does he need?
Or do all neo-Nazis smack on their chests on their Nazi tattoos?
I think they probably do. Here's my question: do they need to be Nazis?
Was that necessary?
Kind of.
Well, that kind of brings me into when I looked up to see what the actual thing with the key was, like what the involvement is, because like I said, they're just looking for this key. And they just keep babbling on about some Nazi bullshit, and then we never find out at the end once the damage has been done and she's kind of killed everybody. Spoiler alert once again. But it kind of just ends with her in a room, like staring off the distance, and like these like I guess social workers being like, "Oh, she's fucked," like, yeah. And it kind of just like
she's part of the system now.
So from what I saw online, is if you can remember that key had the three symbols. The three pyramids, right? True. And Kevin James also had that tattooed on the side of his head.
Yes.
Now,
right.
So from what I was reading is that it has to do with Norse folklore. They're all playing the role of like different Norse gods and like Norse mythology, and that she's Loki, like the trickster kind of thing, which I thought was like possible. Like I was like, oh, that's like, I mean,
kind of lame.
I mean, if that is what they're going for,
it has to be. If that's what
I mean, that's just what I mean. Represent. That's just what some guy was talking about.
So is there? So does that tell you what the treasure is, or no?
No, it doesn't.
Some Norse,
some mythological. I think he's looking for some
Scandinavian buried.
Yeah, his like Ark of the Covenant. He's looking for kind of thing. Maybe like
maybe it's.
Well, it does get his face melted off at the end there, so maybe maybe he really did find his Ark.
yeah. The symbolism is everywhere in this movie.
I like American History X and also Indiana Jones movies.
Yeah. Maybe the gold, or maybe the treasure is some buried Canadian thing.
Maybe the treasure was inside them all along.
Maybe it was. Maybe it was. So Apex is played by Robert Mallet. Canadian guy, actually. Cool. But you were right. He was a wrestler.
Oh, he was?
So, yeah, most obvious thing in the world. Now that you say that, he's this massive fucking guy.
Choke slamming kids.
8 lines in the movie. Yeah, he's definitely a wrestler. But he did a good job.
Yeah, he one-punched that dog like a motherfucker.
Yeah, that was weird.
Yeah.
All the dog violence.
Yeah, I didn't care for that.
No, that was strange. I get what they were going for, so that it was kind of a believable way that a more believable way a 13-year-old could fight these guys, because she's got this. The dog
doesn't end up doing anything. So what's the point of the dog?
Scares them,
I guess, but like it just seems like cheap, like something cheap to add in
because there. Like the guys wouldn't come in the little shed to kill her essentially because of the dog. So she was able to pick them off from afar. What did she do?
Also, when the guy kills the dog, they kind of disguise it that it was her, not the dog. If you remember correctly, the wife's like, "Oh, Becky." They're like, "Oh, they shot Becky," like the dog, right? To kind of like not to like expose. But then again, she exposes herself within 10 minutes, so all for naught, really. Like,
yeah.
So, and it kind of turns into that Home Alone cat and mouse game where she's building all those traps, and
yeah.
And I was like, "How is she doing this?" Like,
this could be a sequel for Home Alone. Home
Alone
Alone when he's 13.
But you know, outside of like a couple things I didn't like. The runtime was the one thing that got me. It was like a really short movie, but like I really don't think you needed any more. You didn't need to add any more to it. If it had been longer, I think it would have been a bit more droning. You know?
Agreed. Yeah. I didn't get too bored or anything.
No. I kind of...
Should we go into whether we liked it or not?
Okay, yeah, all right.
So let me ask you, did you like the movie?
Okay, so overall... Story, not the best. Couple plot holes. Acting, leaves a little something to be desired. Real big positives. Like I said, the runtime was great, you know. But the soundtrack, the music, and some of the shots were fucking really good.
Yeah. I was going to mention the soundtrack. It reminded me of Blade Runner 49.
Okay. You see, I thought that too.
Which was weird.
Like those dark undertone kind of things. Yeah.
It was weird because comparing those two movies, obviously, very different. But still sick. It still sounded cool.
Yeah, it sounded great.
So yeah, I did like that. I guess we should credit the
whoever did the sound or whoever came up did the music for this. Fucking great. But yeah, like overall, if I were to give this a rating out of 10, I would probably give it about what IMDb gave it, around the 5.5 mark. If you're a big horror buff, I'd say it's a good watch. You know, there's a lot of goriness to it. You know, a lot of practical effects that add to it. You know, kind of that survival horror, like, genre thing. If you're really into that, it's great. It's great for you in that sense. But very watchable.
Okay.
So I'd say check it out.
So I actually liked the movie.
Okay.
And I am fairly surprised by this myself. I did not expect to like it.
Really?
No. You know, first of all, and I respect Kevin James in some ways. I think that I don't think he's a bad actor. I think obviously he chooses stupid roles and he does, what he thinks is fun and stuff.
Yeah.
And that's a whole nother discussion on, like what he thinks is good.
Yeah.
Like his new Netflix sitcom, for example.
I think that's why he shaved his head.
Yeah. It's like, these shows are over. Like, people don't want this anymore. It's not funny. But anyway.
But you liked it.
So I thought it was like a fun, like, I don't want to call it a slasher, but it was a fun, like,
survival horror.
Yeah, survival horror, low budget, contained movie, one location, enjoyable, quick little popcorn movie.
Yeah.
You can put on and with some buddies and
have a good laugh. You definitely have a good laugh. I found myself laughing out loud at a couple points in this, especially when he just chokeslammed that girl. I have no idea why that needed to be in there.
Was that like a nod to his wrestling career? Like,
I have no idea.
Was it just surprising? I think it was maybe just supposed to be surprising.
I just love how after that he just looks at her. He's like the guy in fucking Pineapple Express. He's like, nah, I'm going home, man. He just starts walking away.
Yeah.
And I'm like, God damn it. Hell of a wrestler, though, apparently.
All right.
They should just put Stone Cold in the movie instead.
At one point, I thought she was going to kill the stepmom.
Did you think that was going to be a plot twist? Yeah. You thought she was going to murder the stepmom?
Yeah.
Wait, is that your, like, initial reaction? You're like, she's not done killing yet. She's going after the kid and the mom.
So there's this really weird... Yeah, so let's talk about the ending for a minute. So she successfully kills all the bad guys. That's another thing I liked is for example, the riding Kevin James' head over with a lawnmower. It's corny as hell. Would that really work out that way? I don't know. But it's cool and sweet. It's fun. right? Like it's a gory
All
like.
my life I'll be driving home to you.
I'll be driving over you.
Driving over you.
Yeah,
my son.
But yeah, and then at the end, when she's doing all this murdering, there's this like cold vengeance in her eyes that goes beyond to like, is she killing these guys now? I think this is what they're trying to play at. Is she killing these guys now because they killed her parents, or now is she just hungry for blood? So there's this weird moment when at the end, she's killed Kevin James and she's out there like looking all like murdery. And then the stepmom comes out, and for a second I'm like,
she's gonna kill the mom.
Is she gonna kill the stepmom? And obviously
it doesn't go down that way.
But I had that thought, and I wonder if they're trying to trick you and say that that's a possibility.
Yeah, I kind of put it in your head.
Yeah. But yeah, and then so then she's taken. So then we cut to she's in her like a detainment thing, a questioning room, whatever.
The questioning booth.
What do you call it? She's like
police station. Yeah.
Yeah, but she's in like a room,
a questioning booth.
It's like she's being detained. She's at a little table, and they're questioning her. That's how the movie starts, and so.
That foreshadowing at the beginning where you're just like, shit's going down. And then it ends it at the end with the social worker's like, kind of shit she's seen. I don't know if she'll ever be normal.
She'll never be the same again.
I was like, oh god.
The guy's like, yeah, she's in the system now. Do people talk like that? Or I think they'd have more empathy.
Yeah, I think they would be like, right? I don't know. I'm just pretty sure it's just a prequel of Monster.
I mean, you're not wrong. It very well could be. But that's the thing, too. So it ends where she has the key on... Well, first of all, they ask why those guys were there. And she never tells them.
She didn't tell them, no.
And she has the key on her still. So... Does she
have what they're after?
Does she know?
Does she know what they're after?
She has to, right?
I don't know. I kind of do like where it kind of leaves it on a sense where you kind of have to, dive into it and look and see, kind of formulate your own thought of, how it ended. I always like shit like that, in this sense, I do find that it's a little, if you don't, I said, this is just based on what I read that someone talked about, North Apology, sorry. But without being, a total fucking mythology nerd, you wouldn't really know, the average person wouldn't really know that. No one's sitting in a theater yes,
It is sort of painfully obvious that when you see the key's not a normal key. It's got a symbol on it.
He's got a symbol on his head. Yeah, it's right? You know what the connection is, but it's just if I don't know anything about this kind of thing, I get it. It's go look it up and you'll learn something after. But I don't know.
So here's the thing. So first of all, do you believe that she knows what it is?
I don't.
This is what I'm thinking is.
I think she knows. I mean, I think she might know what it is.
It seems that if she does, that maybe her mom told her. Her mom knows?
Oh, that could be a possibility.
Do you think that her mom knows?
That could be a possibility. That could be something, Pieces kind of...
So either it ends in a way, because she has this stupid smile on her face, so it ends in the way that either she knows what it is, or they're just trying to show that she's, different now, and she's a badass.
Yeah.
But it's also kind of it looks like, okay, now she's gonna go look for this treasure? So is she gonna become is she gonna become this fucking Cyrus the Virus type?
Yeah.
Because that's kind of what Kevin James reminded me of, Cyrus the Virus. At the beginning, because he's and I liked that, how they set him up, where he's he's just walking around the prison while all of his guys are doing all the killing and stuff. He's the mastermind while never lifting a finger type of Cyrus the Virus type of guy.
Yeah. Also, when he pulls over that family in that cop uniform, they're like, "Oh, Paul Blart, anything you want." Yeah, what do you say? I'll have that move where you fall down. Oh man, I think we need to see Melissa McCarthy in a role like that, where she shaves her, is running the neo-Nazis.
She should be the
It's a sequel.
So, is there going to be a sequel? That's the question. Do you think that's how it's set up?
I don't think it really warrants a sequel, but
I don't think that.
But I feel like the people in this...
Although, here's the thing. This is kind of a movie like The Babysitter. Have you seen?
Yes. Also very similar.
So yes. Small, single location. Babysitter kills the.
Now, is this just a standard for Amazon movies? You think? Because all these movies are Amazon movies, like strictly shot by Amazon. But it is cheaper to do it that way.
But here's the thing: Babysitter, like similar, very very simple. They made a sequel.
Really?
Yeah.
Babysitters.
Babysitter. Now there's two.
Now there's two.
It's like her and her boyfriend. Which would make sense.
Go upstairs.
I don't know. I haven't seen Babysitter 2 or Babysitter. Weird tangent. I read the script to Babysitter years before it came out because it was on theblacklist.com.
Really?
Where, people sell scripts, and it was just up there, and I was like, oh, I want to see like what people are kind of looking for or whatever, and I read it, and it was okay.
Oh, did you ever read it and think like, oh, this is going to be a movie?
Absolutely not. But it was how I saw it is because it was like recommended or whatever. Like people are looking at it. There's a lot to the script that you can see why it's sold, but it's like very simple. And then I guess when I saw it on Netflix, I'm like, oh, this makes sense. Like, would they make it for $1 million? Probably.
I mean, they fucking buy everything also too.
Yeah.
So
well, that leads to my point about that. Yeah, like Amazon probably paid little for this, and they could, if people watch it, they could pay little for a sequel. Yeah,
I think that's kind of what they're running right now. I mean, like they're kind of just putting out stuff like as kind of cheap as possible.
A lot of people watch these movies. Too.
Oh no, I'm aware. I'm aware, but like that's kind of also an issue for me now too, is because the problem is like they're putting these things out, and like the problem is they put these movies out and they do like mediocre, but they're also mediocre movies, and then it kind of just, I feel like they get content with putting out mediocrity, and they're just like, because I haven't really seen anything good come from Amazon or Netflix, or like movie wise anyway recently. I mean, there was a few of them last year, like the Adam Driver, Scarlett.
There's always a few. Yeah, there's always like one.
There's an Oscar movie every year from Netflix, I'm pretty sure. Like,
yeah, there's like one or two a year Netflix makes that are good.
But then you got to sift through the rest of the garbage.
Like 1 in 100.
Yeah,
which is fine because that's what they're going for, is like just movies people can put on and not think, and people run Netflix all day long. Right?
Yeah,
just throw on these.
Also, just like mindless fucking movies, like what Adult Swim does, right? Like they just throw on B movies during the day. Well, then what's the IMDb rating for that?
6.3.
Wow. Okay. That's right about where I'd see it.
So I was going to say about Becky. So Becky's rated 5.8 on IMDb.
Really? I would actually say Becky was a better movie than The Babysitters.
Yeah, me too, actually.
I would say I enjoyed it more.
And I kind of when I looked up the rating, I kind of thought it was low. I would probably rate it a little higher, 6.5.
Yeah, I don't know. I still kind of like to stick to where I'm at. Like, I do think it's very... I wouldn't go as high as 6. Like, yeah. Like, I think where it's at the 5.8. Like, yeah, 5.8... 5.5, 5.8 is kind of where I'd put it,
Which is totally fair.
Yeah, which is very watchable.
Here's the thing I forgot to mention, too. I kind of have a bias to these movies because I like them.
Yeah, I
think they're fun.
I know, and that's the thing, right? Everyone, to each their own. Everyone has their own.
And I also respect the, one location.
Oh, yeah.
How to make a movie all, in one spot and cheaply. I respect that.
But yeah, no, like, that's the thing, like, if it's very, like, it's still very watchable. Like, if a movie's fucking bad, I'm gonna tell you, like, don't watch this. Like if it's fucking bad,
you recommended it.
I'd say watch it. Yeah, check it out.
Yeah,
I
would too.
Because if you're a fan of slasher horror movies, like, this is fucking great. Like, it's got gore, corn syrups fucking blowing out of everybody's fucking ears. Like, it's sick. Like, guys,
you can see Kevin James' brain.
Yeah, pick his brain a little. Yeah. Jerry Stiller was in it. My son, the murderer.
My son's a Nazi.
Fucking Jerry Stiller. R.I.P. Jerry Stiller.
Yeah, R.I.P. Amazing actor.
Fuck. We need more Jerry Stiller.
I was thinking the other day. So Ben Stiller, Jerry Stiller's son, of course.
No.
Yes.
I knew that. Obviously. Wait, what?
I don't know. Hey, people might not know.
I thought David Schwimmer was his son.
Maybe.
Is it Schlim?
Maybe his stepson. Maybe they adopted him.
A son from a different marriage.
So this is what I was going to ask you. Ben Stiller's last good movie was Tropic Thunder.
Really? You didn't like Mitty?
That he directed.
Oh.
Mitty, yeah. He also directed The Secret Life of Walter Mitty.
It was okay.
Fine.
But alright.
But I'm more thinking like Ben Stiller comedy.
Okay.
Like he did Zoolander, obviously. Tropic Thunder, which I think is an amazing movie.
Like
great comedy.
Ugh.
And I really want to see him do
more movies like that.
Another one. Yeah, something else. Yeah.
I think what's happened is kind of it's weird. Like the people because Ben Stiller is kind of from that they're kind of from that Will Ferrell era of the late 90s, early 2000s, and I feel like some of that humor just hasn't carried really, they haven't really adapted to different styles. They're kind of just rolling with the same stuff that they've always had.
So do you think that if Tropic Thunder came out now, it would
I don't think you could put that out now.
Okay, yeah. Well, let's say
I really don't think you could put that out now.
Yeah, there's the obvious
not even just the Downey stuff. I mean by Downey stuff like the Robert Downey Jr., not the actual Downey stuff that is in the movie. Which
God,
I'm not going to get into that.
that is amazing. There's two Downeys.
In this flick,
and that is two problems.
That is two problems. There's too many Downeys. Oh God.
Yeah. So good point. So do you think that he could make another good comedy?
I think he could, but you would have to definitely surround him with people from people that are big now, like actors who are on the up and up. If you were to put him in obviously Kate McKinnon's a big hot commodity now. Everyone uses her in their B comedy movies. But if you could get someone who's a bit more relevant now, comedy wise, and kind of team them up with Ben Stiller, kind of I think they tried to do that with Jonah Hill. Didn't they make that movie with Richard Ayoade was in it too? Vince Vaughn. What the fuck was that?
Are you talking
the
about
alien one?
Yeah.
Spoilers again. Yeah, Night Watch. The Watch.
The Watch.
No, or is The Watch something else?
Well, I'll look it up. That movie, by the way, was directed by one of the Lonely Island guys.
Yorma? Or the other guy?
I'm not totally sure.
Yeah, it's got a solid cast. I don't recall if it was good, but I do recall it being run of the mill.
It was okay.
It was watchable.
It was fine. It was called The Watch.
It was called The Watch. Okay.
2012.
That was fucking 8 years ago.
Ben Stiller, Vince Vaughn, Jonah Hill, Richard Ayoade, directed by Akiva Schaffer.
Akiva's the other guy. Yeah.
Lonely Island.
Was doing flips and shit.
Written by Jared Stern and Seth Rogen.
Ah, cool.
Jared Stern, who wrote The Internship, the Vince Vaughn Owen Wilson movie.
Oh.
The Google.
Isn't it not called Google in the movie for copyright reasons?
I haven't seen it.
I haven't either, but I know that they don't. Right. I know they don't use Google in it because I remember seeing it. And I was like,
I'm sure you're right.
Probably something stupid.
I wonder if it says
Google or something stupid like that.
Oh, it does say Google.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Two salesmen whose careers have been torpedoed by the digital age find their way into coveted internship at Google, where they must compete with a group of young tech-savvy geniuses.
Who are the tech-savvy? Is Thomas Middleditch one of them? I bet you fucking Thomas Middleditch is one of them.
I hope Thomas Middleditch is one of them.
I bet you Thomas Middleditch is...
I think this is before his career a little bit. He's not in it.
I was one of the IT crap. One of the guys from Silicon Valley. I was like, someone has to be in this.
Is that Nelson Bigetti?
It is. Boom.
It looks like him. I don't know if it's him. Let's look him up. Let's look him up.
Are you just writing his name out as Nelson Bigetti? I don't think that's his real name, but
Baghead.
Big head.
Yeah, what's his name? Calls him Baghead.
Baghead, yeah.
Gavin Belson. The guy, the Hulu guy.
Oh, Mr. Bigetti.
Did you know, by the way, so Gavin Belson in Silicon Valley wrote the movie Mr. Fantastic.
Really?
The Viggo Mortensen movie.
Really?
Yeah. A brilliant, really heartwarming.
I love that movie.
Yeah. And it's the exact opposite of his character, Gavin Belson. But great movie. I hear he's a great guy. Okay, let's see here. Where's Nelson Bigetti? Oh, there he is. Josh Burner.
Oh, think he's in that movie? Oh, come on, Josh. Come on, Joshy boy. Oh,
Yeah!
it fucking was him.
All right, so we got Baghead in the
I
internship.
fucking knew it. Like,
I wonder if he also plays a
those
role
guys
where
are
he somehow has
yeah, those guys are fucking typecast in these things. That's how they end up, like, you know, like...
That's amazing.
They all end up in the same kind
I wonder if Mike Judge saw him
probably
in the internship.
Probably, and liked him. Yeah.
Maybe we should watch the internship.
I don't know. Yeah, maybe we should. Let's check that out.
Right,
I know it's not going to be. I mean, you know what? No, you never know. It could be good. You know, like, don't judge a movie before you watch it, right? Like, kind of thing.
I will judge a movie before I watch it. And I'm going to say it's going to be bad.
I mean, I can only assume.
But yeah, maybe. We'll put that in the maybe
We'll put that in the maybe column. Did you watch it? No. I think you could just come up with another movie very similar to that would do better. Like, put like, let's say like Danny McBride and fucking James Franco have to go work at Amazon packing packages. You know that would be way funnier. like that would
Nomadland.
Just call it fucking packing or something.
Did you watch Nomadland, by the way?
I don't think I have now.
Okay. It's the Frances McDormand.
Oh, okay.
Won the Golden Globe. Might win the Oscar.
Okay, right.
Good.
Definitely
really good.
That up
but no spoilers. She works at Amazon for a little bit in it. Just a small part. And it's very weird.
Does it reflect poorly on Amazon?
It does not.
Oh, okay. I was really hoping it would.
Which I'm wondering, does Amazon have a part in that?
Oh, probably.
It's so strange because the whole movie is very... Because she's like a nomad. She lives in a van and just travels the country, you know, living through her van just because she wants to. And she's like 50s or something. And does these odd jobs.
Oh, she's 50. It doesn't take place in the 50s.
No.
No, because it works for Amazon.
She's in the 50s.
Okay, all right. It's
Amazon in the 50s, yeah. They were just a startup. They sold pens, I believe. Or paper. But, yeah, so for a brief stint, she's at Amazon. But so the whole movie is like kind of in the desert, very nomad-y, very different ideals to what Amazon is. And when she walks in there, there's this big shot of the big Amazon building, and it's very, very strange. And I wonder if they did it to like send a message. Like,
I mean, Amazon's like pretty predominant in like the making of shit now. Like,
oh,
I mean, for who knows? Like, maybe Amazon probably had a hand in making the movie. Like if they're featured in it, I'm assuming that
that's a good point. They
did because they're trying to cross over more.
Since this episode's not on Nomadland, I didn't do my research on it. So
okay, that's fair, and I have not seen it. So
I'm just gonna take a freebie and say I don't know.
I mean, I will watch that. I mean, we'll discuss that at some point. But all right,
cool,
awesome, yeah. So I think next week we're going to be doing that Adam Brody movie. Not Orange County. That's also not Adam Brody. That's fucking Colin Hanks. Now
Kid Detective.
Yeah, Kid Detective. Okay, because Orange County was Adam Brody was in the OC. Okay, now I kind of see where I got the wires crossed. Jack Black was not on the OC.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, that would have been a better show if he was on the OC.
It would have. Yeah. If he was the Ryan character.
Oh, God, that'd be so much better. Dad, I just need money for weed. Fuck. What you?
I just imagined him, that scene where he's smoking at the end of the driveway in the first episode, and Marissa is like, who's that guy? And it's just Jack Black. Stop.
Say, man. What's
up? Yeah, just listen to some tunes.
You like Slayer?
Used to live in my van, but these guys took me in, crashing on their couch for a while.
Broheem. Just thrashing
a
chopper.
Cool.
All right, that concludes episode 1.